Hi friends, it's Walter Zemrock from the Love From Lizi design team, here with a video for you today featuring 3 cards made with the March Bugs and Kisses card kit. If you like the content that you're seeing, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. Links are provided below. For this first card, I'm going to be using a piece of the green cardstock in an A2 sized card base, a piece of the printed paper that's cut down to the size of an A2 panel. I'm using the piece of the specialty paper that has the 4 panels that are about 3 inches by 3 inches, and there's 2 circles and 2 like diamond shapes. So I cut one of them down to be 3 by 3. I have a 2.75 by 2.75 piece of the clear acetate, 2 2.75 by 3 inch pieces of the gold foil cardstock, a 2-inch by 6-inch piece of that really pretty like magenta cardstock, a 1-inch by 6-inch strip of the green foil cardstock. We'll be using these iridescent butterfly shaker bits. I'm also going to be using a flower die and a leaf die from the Build-A-Bouquet die set, which coordinates really well in with the Bugs and Kisses set. And then from my stash, I'm also going to be using a Pear Blossom Press light. So let's get started. I'm going to use a concentric circle die the size of the white circle in the middle of this paper to cut out that circle so that I can create the opening for the window of the shaker card. I just tape it down to my paper, run it through my die cut machine, and the circle in the center will be cut out. I now use this piece to align over the gold, one of the gold squares that I cut out, so that I can cut a circle in the same location out of the gold cardstock. Remember, I'm going to use this as the back side of the shaker window so that there's 2 pieces of gold cardstock facing each other that will help make the light brighter within the card. So I cut out the center, and now I have the 2 pieces done. I created the front of the shaker window by using craft glue to glue the acetate to the back of the printed cardstock with the circle cut out, and then gluing the piece of the gold metallic cardstock with the circle cut out to the back of that. I then use that and the other metallic cardstock square to determine the best placement for the shaker element. And then I also determine where the light would best be placed. And I decided that it would be best to place the light against the flush against the left side of the card. So after marking where things will go, I took some double-sided tape, put it onto the back of the gold metallic cardstock, the foil cardstock, that will be the back of the shaker, and adhere that down to the card panel. I don't have to erase a pencil mark because the paper covered it right up. I then apply some double-sided foam tape strips to the back of the front of the shaker. I now use some craft glue and put it onto the back of the light to go ahead and secure it down to the card. I make sure to align the left side of the light to the left side of the card panel and apply some pressure to help the glue set. Once that light is in place, I can then take my shaker panel and line it up with the foil cardstock on the card base and the light to determine where I need to cut the foam tape strips to account for the light being there. By cutting out that section of the foam strips to allow for the light, I can make sure that it's going to be a snug fit and that it's not raised too high on the left side versus the right side. So I make the marks on the printed cardstock, and even though it's on the printed side, I can use my scissors and where those marks are aligned to go ahead and make the snips on the double-sided foam tape to then be able to remove it. So I carefully take my detail scissors and I cut it in alignment with one line and then with the other, and then I remove the strips. Nice and easy. Before adhering down the shaker panel, I need to get my shaker bits into the center. There's different ways that people do this. I find it easier to just dump the shaker bits into the center of where I'm going to be putting the shaker panel over, making sure that it's clear of where any tape is, and then just press it down. This will make sure that the shaker bits are contained and that they're not going to go flying out as I shake the card. I also press the light to make sure that it works. I used the flower die from the bouquet set to cut out 6 purple flowers and 4 green leaves, and then I start by gluing down the green leaves, and then I gradually start to add in the flowers. For the flowers, I use double-sided foam tape so that they're resting above the leaves. I select my sentiment, secure the card down onto my stamping platform, and stamp the sentiment using black ink. The sentiment stamp was designed with just a little bit of a blank line in the letters. So I take a purple glitter gel pen and I fill in those lines just to add a little extra sparkle and to bring some additional purple into the design. And with that, our card is done. I love the light added to it, the way it reflects off of those iridescent butterflies, and overall it's just a really happy design. I hope you agree. And now we're going to move on to make some additional cards. Our next project is a lot of fun. Last month, I made some mini note cards, and there is paper in the Bugs and Kisses package that are perfect for that. It was, the paper that has the 4 of these together. So I cut them down, and they're each about 3 by 3. Those will be the front panels. I then cut 4 card bases that are 3 inches by 6 inches, scored them at 3 inches. So we have our card bases. The Bugs and Kisses kit comes with a beautiful wax as well as a wax seal, so we're going to be using those. From my own stash, I'm going to be using a gold metallic pin as well as some purple thread. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these pieces aside except for the wax and the wax seal. And I have some items that I'm going to use that will hopefully make it a little bit easier. I had received a wax seal kit as a gift, and you know, you can, this is a candle that you can light and drip yourself, but I actually have an electronic device that will melt the wax, and it comes with a nice little pourable spoon, so it makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to use that, and also the kit came with the silicone pad, which gives you 3 circle shapes as well as some irregular shapes, which are kind of fun. So this should help with making the wax seals a little bit more easily and quickly. So I'm going to start by warming up the wax, and to do that, I'm just going to remove that, get this little unit plugged in. There we go. So that is turned on, and that is heating up. There we go. And what I'm going to do is just grab a scrap of paper and an X-Acto knife and just come in to cut some wax to put into that. Instead of melting it, you know, on its own, I find that using it, a warmer like this is just so much easier. And of course, you know, your X-Acto knife will cut right through that. And then to make sure that I get that wick out, I'm just going to cut that down into smaller little chunks. And then that way I can get that wick right out of there, either with my fingers or with a pair of tweezers. Let's see which method is gonna win out. So far my fingers it is. Okay, so our wax is melted, and it is a beautiful metallic sheen inside of that wax. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I just picked up my spoon. I'm just going to pour some of the wax down into the silicone mold. The nice thing about this mold is that it will help create a better shape so that you're not, you know, it's not misshapen at all. I'm just gonna dab that with a rag before I put that back there. Now I'm just going to move that within that mold. Everything looks good, so I'm going to take my wax seal and I'm just going to set it down into the wax, trying to center it. And we're going to let that go ahead and dry. Now I can see that I used about half the wax on one, so I'm going to go ahead and chop up some additional wax. I'm then going to pour 3 more and get them molded. Okay, so our wax seals are made, and I think they came out pretty well. A little, you know, bit of irregularities, which, as I said, if you actually want to take an X-Acto knife and, like, you know, cut some of that down or off, you certainly can. I don't mind the irregularities. I think it adds character to them. So I'm going to leave them as is. The last thing I want to show you on these wax seals is you can also take a marker, metallic marker, something that will show up. And you can add in some little details. So I have a gold metallic marker here. You can come in and decorate the moon, the stars. Could even do the trees if you want. If you have a green metallic marker, which I do, you can do the trees that way. So you can add additional detail here as much or as little as you'd like. And you can just see those little, it adds just that little bit of glimmer to it. Now, if you want to do the tree, it's as simple as just coming in and going over that raised part. Now you got that detail on your trees. Doing as much or as little as you'd like. How fun is that? Okay, so I have my card bases all burnished and folded. And now I'm going to take some of this embroidery floss or string, whatever you'd like to call it. And I thought it would be a fun detail. I decided to go with purple, a darker purple, to juxtapose the colors in the background here. And I think it goes really nice with that green as well. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to use a glue dot to get somewhere near the center. You know, it doesn't have to be exact, but to get that floss down there, press it down with the glue dot to keep it in place. And then now I am simply going to, I'm going to do kind of like a cross with this one, coming around that butterfly, coming back, coming around that way. And again, the shape doesn't have to be precise. You can make it precise if you'd like, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm just going to make sure that that crosses like towards the center, so that once I'm done, I can come back, press that end down, grab my scissors, trim that off. And then before putting the wax seal down, you can play with this a bit more and get it, you know, get it how you'd like it. Again, doesn't have to be 100% centered or anything like that. Then we're going to take a wax seal and we're going to simply glue it down into the middle where the floss crosses, and that's going to be the front of our little note card. And here we have it, the 4 finished cards. I did a combination of some that open up from the bottom as well as 2 from the side, just to mix it up, have the strings going in some different patterns. But this is a great set of note cards, and I'd be happy to give one of these to someone or to give the set to someone. So, and the great thing is anything can be written inside. And it's also the type of card that it doesn't have to go into an envelope. If you're giving a gift in a gift bag, this could easily be attached to the gift bag. But it's also easy enough to find 3x3 envelopes that would fit these. So there is another project with the Bugs and Kisses kit complete. The third card I'm making with the kit is going to be put onto an A2 sized magenta card base, which I've cut out. I have then a 5-inch by 3.75-inch card panel. We're going to be using both the stamps and the stencil from the kit. We're going to be using some of these fabulous larger crystals from the kit, as well as some of the peel-offs from the kit. So to get started, I am going to start working on the card panel first, but I am going to go ahead and just fold my card base. I don't always use my scoring tool and do it that way. Sometimes when it's faster, I just do it this way. Wouldn't be surprised if many of you do the same. There's a couple of things I want to do in order to make sure that it's going to be laid out the way I'd like it. So for the stenciling, we're going to be stenciling some flowers. So I'm going to put that to the side. I'm also going to stamp a butterfly. And for this card, I think I'm going to do it this way rather than this way. Yeah, because I want to have a border of these butterflies going around. Let me get those out to show you what I am referring to. So I want there to be a border around the card panel of these butterflies. So I am going to get my border laid first so that I know how much room I have to work with. And you know what's cool about these is it leaves behind these little butterflies from the center that if you want them in there, you can easily take them off and put them on. But if not, you simply have some extra butterfly stickers to use. How cool is that? And for this border, I want it going around right up against the edge. So I am just going to place that right where I want it on the edge. Make sure it's aligned before pressing it down. Perfect. There's that one. I'm going to snip it off at the end here and save that for another use. Let's put that back on here. And I'm just going to line it up with those just to keep it safe. I finished this step by adding a border to the remaining 3 sides of the card panel. With the borders on, I put the butterfly stamp where I'd like it to be placed, and I stamp it with purple ink. I chose purple instead of black just to keep with the overall color scheme of the design. With the butterfly stamped, I now use the stencil to stencil on some of the small, medium, and large flowers from the coordinating stencil of the set. Just adding those flowers wherever it felt natural to me. You can certainly put them in a more organized fashion if you'd like. But I like the haphazard nature of just the random flowers kind of floating around the butterfly. It doesn't take too long to get all of the flowers stenciled. I adorn the center of each of the stenciled flowers with one of the crystal gems from the kit. I use the small gems on the small flowers and the large gem on the larger ones. It's now time for some coloring. I use some gel pens to add rainbow colored centers to each of the butterflies going around the border. I had a little mishap with a gem, so I went ahead and glued it back into place, and then returned to coloring the rainbow colors along the border. I alternate the colors starting with red, going right through purple. And once purple is done, I return to red and repeat until they're all colored in. I then start to color my butterfly using metallic gel pens. I start with purple at the bottom and then gradually start to work my way up to red at the top, following the color scheme of a rainbow. And this is what the card panel looks like once the butterfly is colored. Okay, so I put the card panel onto the card base, and I die cut the word hello using the dies from the kit in purple cardstock, and adhered it just above that border in between those two flowers, and our card is done. What do you think? I think it's really pretty. I think it's bright, and I think it just it'll brighten someone's day. So just as a quick recap of our projects, we started out with our really cute light up shaker. Look at all of that glitter and glamour inside. That's just fabulous. And I love the accents from the metallic card flowers and leaves going around it. We then had our 4 note cards using the wax seals. They're just fabulous. They're a lot of fun. And then we ended with our butterfly rainbow card, or rainbow butterfly card, which I think is a lot of fun. I hope you agree. And thanks for spending some time here with me today, and I'll see you again real soon. Until then, be well.